Hey there, it's Kayleen Holt from Scissortail Creative Services with some inclusive LXD insights. Are you someone who always tries to be inclusive? Does it upset you when you see people being left out or discriminated against? Yeah, same. That's why I wrote the Inclusive Learning Pledge. If you haven't seen the pledge already, stay tuned. We're going to talk about it. Hello, and welcome to this channel, which aims to make the world a more inclusive place, one learning experience at a time. Before I get started, here's a quick visual description for inclusion. I am a white woman with dark, blonde, kind of reddish hair. My pronouns are she, her. I'm wearing a purple and teal dress that just happens to match my company's branding pretty well. Behind me are some bookshelves filled with books and decor and a couple of mismatched vintage armchairs in front of them. When I wrote the Inclusive Learning Pledge, I wanted to start a movement of learning and development professionals, or L&D professionals, who are committed to inclusion. And I still want that. I've got about 200 folks who've joined me on this journey so far, and I want that number to just keep growing. Now, you might wonder, why is it the Inclusive Learning Pledge and not the DEI Pledge or DEIAB Pledge or IDEA Pledge or one of the other acronyms out there? I view inclusion as an umbrella term. You can't be inclusive if you're not celebrating and inviting diversity. People won't feel like they belong if you're not inclusive. You can't be inclusive and ignore accessibility or justice or equity. Inclusion encompasses all those things. If you're inclusive, you treat people with kindness, respect, empathy, and love. I see the Inclusive Learning Pledge as a way to champion L&D's role in diversity, inclusion, equity, accessibility, and belonging. We can and should be leaders in those efforts. So a little about me and my perspectives on inclusion. I am a very late identified autistic woman with multiple disabilities, multiple types of neurodivergence. I'm also an LGBTQ+ mama bear. Now, the Inclusive Learning Pledge was not a solo effort. It wasn't based on my lived experiences alone. I got input from a team of badass inclusion advocates who volunteered their time to review the pledge, and they made it infinitely better and more inclusive. Now, let's take a look at the 10 principles of inclusive learning that we came up with. Principle number 1 is that inclusion is everyone's responsibility, and it's a moral and ethical obligation. A workplace cannot be inclusive if only the diversity, equity, and inclusion professionals care about it. If only the ones who have that in their job title are the ones doing the work. We all need to do the work. We're all responsible for creating and maintaining a workplace where everyone feels represented, included, and valued. Principle number 2 says that we live our ideal values in everything we do. Now, those ideal values are inclusion, diversity, equity, accessibility, and love. Yes, love. I said what I said. You can read about those values and the 5 guiding beliefs of inclusive learning at the Pledge website, which is linked below. What this principle means is that our commitment to inclusion has to be an ongoing process. DEI isn't a buzzword. It's not a trend or a one-and-done training event. It's not something legislators can legislate away. Inclusive values have to inform all of our decisions, from learning experience design to hiring, onboarding, salary, and promotion decisions. Principle number 3 is that being inclusive means leading with empathy, seeking to understand lived experiences different from our own. That means listening to and amplifying diverse voices. Day to day, this looks like including stakeholders and learners from all types of backgrounds, intersectional backgrounds throughout the learning experience design process. It looks like asking for input from people whose voices might not otherwise be heard. It looks like listening. It looks like passing the mic. Principle number 4 is that inclusion starts with us. In L&D, we play a critical role in shaping a company's culture. From orientation and new hire training, those first experiences someone has when they come to the company, through competency building, leadership development, we're there. L&D professionals are by nature agents for change. So we can and should use our influence to create a welcoming workplace environment where all employees feel like they belong. Principle number 5 is that diverse representation matters. Learners need to be able to recognize themselves in the learning experiences we create. Part of this work is making sure that we're not perpetuating harmful stereotypes. Now, to be able to recognize stereotypes, we might have to take a good hard look at ourselves and ask ourselves what we really believe about different groups of people and start to recognize and address our own biases. That can be hard work, and it is something that has to be ongoing. I know it's something that's ongoing for me. Principle number 6 is that accessibility is a human right. Everyone deserves equitable access to information and professional development opportunities. Learning experiences in environments that aren't accessible can't be inclusive or equitable. There is no inclusion or equity without accessibility. Principle number 7 is that sound design is inclusive design. No compromises required. We can continue to use creative, engaging, and evidence-based instructional practices because we don't have to sacrifice good design for accessibility and inclusion. We just might have to get a little bit more creative in some things. Principle number 8 is that the language we use matters. So we need to strive to use inclusive language always. Now, I know language is ever evolving. We just have to evolve with it. And we're not always going to get it right, but we need to always keep trying. And that brings me to principle number 9, which is that we will not let pursuit of perfection get in the way of progress. If we unintentionally cause harm, we just need to acknowledge that mistake, apologize, and then learn, teach, and do better. Finally, principle number 10 is about inviting and welcoming input. Being inclusive means not making assumptions. Too many times we make assumptions about what disabled people can and can't do, or what a person's background and education or other characteristics are like, based solely on their group, like their ethnic group. And often those assumptions are based on depictions we see in the media rather than actual real information. The fact is, we can't know what another person's lived experiences are like unless we listen to them. And that means we need to be listening to people with lived experiences that are different from our own. Part of this means seeking input from learners, employees, and other stakeholders from all backgrounds, and then using that input to make our learning experiences and environments more inclusive. If you've already signed the pledge, thank you for showing your commitment to inclusion. It makes my heart so happy every time a new name pops up on that list. If you haven't signed it, I hope you will. And please share it with others, because in a world where we can be anything, let's be inclusive.